So I'm having a nice conversation with a Christian sister, and we're talking about if anybody should be allowed to have sex with a 9-year-old, and why would we talk about that? Because I'm a Muslim. Prophet Muhammad apparently had sex with a 9-year-old. It depends on which historical references you go to, but I'm not against that. And my argument is that I go by natural law and God's law. So God's law is natural law, which is if a person is a woman or a man, okay, biologically gone through puberty or whatever markers which are reasonable, then they should have the right to go according to their urges, and we'd have no right to enforce our beliefs on other people according to their natural urges. But my sister here is going to tell me something else. Thank you very much.
Well, so what you just said now, you said that, so if a girl has been through puberty, she should be allowed to get married.
Yeah, if she wants to.
So what about girls before they've gone through puberty? Is that right for them to get married?
If they want to get engaged or something, that's up to them, but I would recommend that proper marital relationship with only people who are, have gone through puberty, yeah.
Okay, so that's your idea, but where do you get that from? So are you the authority?
So I'm a Muslim, and that's in the Quran. So it doesn't say puberty, but basically people who have got to a stage, it's called, I can't remember the word exactly in Arabic, but when you are basically developed as a woman.
Where does it say that in the Quran? As a woman.
Yeah, I don't memorize the Quran. I usually have to use my phone to Google stuff. Yeah. But let's just say, I think most Muslims would agree with me, right? Okay. There are certain markers, and there's not just having menstruation, because sometimes you menstruate after you're already a woman, even if you've gone through puberty, right? But yeah. So what's your alternative to when you're? So we want to keep it simple. I'm saying you should be able to have sex when you're a man or a woman. Okay, so if you're a man and if there's a man and a woman and they are both actually men and women biologically, they have the right to do according to their natural urges, just like we have as grown-ups have that right. So do you agree with their right to have sex?
If they're a man and a woman and they're married.
Great. So we're agreed. So do you agree if the man and woman were 9 years old, do you change your opinion or what?
If there's a man who's not 9 years old, that's a child, and a woman is not 9 years old, that's a child.
Okay, so I'm just having a logical conversation. So we've already established if they're man or women, you can't decide their age, because if their age is 9 and that person is a man, and we've had this in the past, in the kings getting married at 6 or something, right? Okay, people were understood to be men because people were more in the past, more in line with nature. Okay, they didn't make up ideas of their own. They just thought, you know what, this person is physically a man, this person is physically a woman, they're allowed to have sex. They weren't restricted to modern day norms, and modern day norms are often, as far as I understand, to do with industrialism. So they decided a man and a woman are only man and women when they're 16 in this country, because as far as I understand, they wanted to encourage people to complete their education so they could do jobs, okay, which works with industrialization, right? But that's not actually how our biology works. So anyway, that's the modern norms. Were you going to show me in the Bible something else?
Okay, so this is from Ezekiel chapter 16, where God is giving an allegory about unfaithful Jerusalem, and he's talking about Jerusalem as though she was a girl. So it says, on the day you were born, your cord was not cut, nor were you washed with water to make you clean, nor were you rubbed with salt or wrapped in cloths. Rather, you were thrown out into the open field. for on the day you were born you were despised. Then I passed by, and I saw you kicking about in your blood. As you lay there in your blood, I said to you, live. I made you grow like a plant of the field. You grew up and developed and became the most beautiful of jewels. Your breasts were formed and your hair grew. You who were naked and bare. Okay? So he's talking about Jerusalem, but he's describing her as a girl. And he said he saw when she was born, and then she grew up, and then her breasts were formed. Okay? And then later I passed by, and when I looked at you and saw that you were old enough for love, I spread the corner of my garment over you and covered your nakedness. I gave you my solemn oath and entered into a covenant with you, declares the Lord, and you became mine. So God is saying, after her breasts are grown, then he went away, and later he came back and he saw that she was ready for love, and then he married her. So this gives.
How did he see it? Because I genuinely am interested, right? So I didn't understand. It was partly because it was very noisy, but how did he recognize that lady was ready for love? Could you explain that? I didn't understand that bit. What's the marker for deciding somebody is ready for love?
So first of all, her breasts are growing, but that wasn't the time that she was ready to be married. Later on, he went away, and then he came back, and he saw she was ready for love, and then he married her.
Okay, that's what I don't understand, because you said the breast growing is not a marker. So he went away, we don't know how long, it could have been 5 minutes, it could be 1 year, who knows. But what is the rule by which you know? And I admit, by the way, thank you very much for pointing out that I haven't quoted a verse of the Holy Quran, which I will put in the... Because I've read it, but I can't remember exactly, so I don't want to lie on video. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to lie anytime, actually. So I'm going to put it in the comments below. We can discuss it in the comments below when I put the reference there. But I want a reference from the Bible. It's very interesting. But I can't understand your reference, because all he said is the breast grew, and that's not a marker. Then he goes away and comes back. You don't know how long that was and what it is that he came back and saw that was different.
Yes. So the point is that just because a girl's breasts are growing and perhaps she's got her period, she's gone through puberty, that doesn't make her ready for marriage. So this is God giving an allegory about marrying Jerusalem. So God himself knows when she's ready for marriage, because he's God.
So do you give me a number? What age? I'm just intrigued. Oh, by the way, my Christian sister here doesn't want to be on camera, which I totally respect, by the way, because even my wife doesn't often want to be on camera, so I appreciate that. The second thing is, I'm just trying to get some sort of final short, because I like to do short videos, you see. So can you tell me an age or any marker, because I haven't heard that yet, by which we know you're ready to get married?
So I don't know if you've got daughters or not, but if you've got a daughter, I think you're going to have some kind of idea whether you think she's mature or not to be married to somebody or not. So that decision comes from a responsible, mature adult who loves that person, that loves the daughter. So if a father really, really loves his daughter, maybe she's got breasts, but she's still a baby, she's still a child. He's not going to give her in marriage.
So just to cut, basically you're saying there should be a feeling, maybe common sense. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Okay. And so what I would say is, in the past, when men and women had much shorter lives and were very serious from a younger age, they went into work a lot younger, they didn't have computer games, and nowadays what we psychologists call it, I can't remember the exact word, but basically you would appreciate that people grow up a lot slower in terms of mental attitude, that they carry on playing computer games well into their 30s. There's a word for that, I can't remember what the word is, but it's a recognized kind of thing that's happening in modern West, by the way. So people have growing up physically slower and mentally slower, but let's say we went back to those times when people are growing up very quickly, or even now in our times when you're living in a more rough environment where the woman who is 9 years old feels comfortable and is willing to get married. Are you against her getting married, or man getting married, if she or he wants to get married and she's grown up, she's biologically a man or a woman? Are you against that person getting married?
Well, first of all, what is the law of the land? First of all, you have to.
Okay, so there's say the law of the land, and apparently in California and some other places, the law of the land is basically when you're ready. Sometimes there's no law exactly on that because people think it's too obvious when you should be allowed, and that is the natural law, which is biology. So let's say there is no number according to the law of the land, and you're biologically a woman or a man, and you are desperate to get married. You found a husband, the love of your life, and they want to get married. Are you going to get in their way?
If my daughter was mature enough to be married, she's gone through puberty, and she's mature enough, and she's ready for love. And then if it's legal, she's of the legal age to get married, then of course.
Okay, I'm glad you agree. Thank you very much.